Kia ora. Tēnā koe, Marama Fox.
Tēnā koe te mana whakawā, nā reira tautoko hia ngā mihi kua mihia I tēnei ata ki a koutou, kua tai ati nana mai. Me tō koutou tira, ngā pau ngā rahi kai wanginui a koutou, o kuranga tira, ai te mihi, ai te mihi. Tautoko anau I ngā kōrero kua whāriki hia nei te ata, kia rātau mā kua mene atu ki te pō. Nui ngā wā kua haere ke mai ki tēnei whare ka āwangawanga hau I te ngarohanga o te tangata. Kaihia kē rātau. Ia hau e whakaaro pēnei ai, e whakaaro anau mo te hunga mate, e ki nei tēnei whare. Kai ko nei rātau, ā wairua, ka rangona tātou, ia rātau mā kua mene atu ki te pō. Kai te hia rātau kia kite I ngā kōrero, ki te whakarongo, ki ngā kōrero, e whāriki hia nei tēnei rangi, kia tūtuki pai ngā nawe, ngā mamai, ngā auetanga kai wainui a tātou. Nā reira, kai te mihi, tautoko hia ngā mihi kia rātau, kua wehe atu, ka hoki anō kia tātou te hunga ora, tēnā tātou katoa. Mr. Speaker, much has been said about Atiawa and the massive loss of land, the cultural genocide, the situation that we find ourselves in today because of the injustices of the past. And so I don't want to deliberate on those things anymore. But I want to concentrate my comments on a couple of areas that give some context and some personal acknowledgement to just what that meant to these people and to us as a nation. And I want to start, if I might, Mr. Speaker, with reading from the text of the Suppression of Rebellion Act, 1863, because the words themselves give gravity to exactly what happened here. And so I start, it says, whereas a combination for the subversion of authority of Her Majesty and Her Majesty's government has for some time existed amongst certain Aboriginal tribes of this colony and has now manifested itself in acts of open rebellion, and whereas persons in prosecution of the said rebellion have committed murders on some of Her Majesty's subjects engaged in their peaceful occupations, have pillaged their homelands and burnt and destroyed their property, and whereas the ordinary course of law is wholly inadequate for the suppression of the said rebellion and the prompt and effectual punishment of those who are guilty of such atrocity and outrage, it shall be lawful for the Governor from time to time, during the continuances of the said rebellion, to issue his orders to all persons whom he shall think fit to authorise in that behalf, to take the most vigorous and effectual measures for suppressing the said rebellion in any part of this colony which shall appear to be necessary for the public safety and for the safety and protection of the persons and properties of Her Majesty's loyal subjects. And hence martial law was enacted and empowered by the Governor where and however he saw fit. Anyone taking up arms or aiding, or in fact at any time the Governor determined any action to be rebellion, martial law could be enacted. And what did that mean? Anyone determined to be in breach of this act was then determined to be committing an act of war or treason. They could be put to death, held in penal servitude, arrested, detained in custody, or any other action determined necessary, including land confiscations. Now, the second part of this kōrero I want to attribute to Danny Keelan, who I understand is here, and recognise him, and also Wikitoria, his mother, who is not here with us, but certainly in spirit, I'm sure. I want to recognise the kōrero that he wrote, because it was the first time I ever heard of Wiremu Kingi in the Mana magazine. So Mr. Keelan quotes the historian Anne Parsonson in describing the rangatira Wiremu as a chief of great influence and authority who stood on his dignity and kept his distance from those he saw as careless of Māori rights. When he died, though, in 1882, the Taranaki Herald described him as a turbulent chief to whom may be fairly attributed the difficulties and troubles Taranaki has passed through. By the time of his death in 1882, in addition to being left virtually landless, the people of Atiawa had been subjected to wrongful imprisonment, alienated from the whenua, death through battle and through lengthy incarceration, poverty, and then furthermore this ongoing mistrust demonised by the local settlers and authorities of the time. However, in 1927, the Royal Commission, Danny explains in his article, charged with investigating the confiscation, said of Wiremu and his people that they were not in rebellion against the Queen's sovereignty. The natives were treated as rebels and war declared against them before they had engaged in rebellion of any kind, and in the circumstances they had no alternative but to fight their own defence. In their eyes, the fight was not against the Queen's sovereignty, but a struggle for house and home. And I think that fairly and clearly sums up exactly what has happened here. Determined to be in rebellion, and then absolutely shown that that was completely wrong. I just want to conclude with an acknowledgement of the Land Wars petition that has come to the House. The Land Wars petition wants to find a day, and we have Parihaka Day up in the members' bill, but we'll discuss that. The Land Wars have been called Land Wars because to call them the Māori Wars or the Māori Land Wars does an injustice. People think that Māori fought against the Crown, fought against settlement, fought against sovereignty. This is an example where that is exactly not the case. That is exactly not the case. But they defended their rights for house and home. And so until we acknowledge in our own country the first war that we engaged in was here in our own whenua, enacted upon the people indigenous to this country, then we cannot move forward and overcome the issues in the new Plymouth District Council where they blindly cannot see that representation will benefit them, not inhibit them, when we can't even get 2 street names named for those Maori words and people go, oh my goodness, how will I pronounce them? So, Mr. Speaker, I don't want to take up more time. Danny's words in recognition of Wiremu Kingi and the Suppression of Rebellion Act themselves clearly outline the injustices of the Crown and our people's overwhelming resilience, struggle, tenacious attitude, our ability to roll with the punches and move on. And here we are, in all humility, willing to work and try again with the people who continue to try and suppress them. I want to acknowledge Atiawa, Mahara, tēnā koe, tēnā koutou, o tira tēnā mai tātou katoa.